Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions for you on a new Civivi. I have to give you a little bit of background to this. Often when I get knives from Justin over at White Mountain Knives, I just send him an email saying, "Hey, I'd like to check this or that out for review. I don't really care what color, I don't really care what finish, just as long as I can get a decent example." And so, that's what I said about this knife. Hey, could you send me one? Yep, sure enough. He sends the knife out, and it was not what I expected. So, we've seen lots of Civivis before. We kind of know what to expect. We're going to get G10 with a liner lock and either D2, 14C28N, or 9CR 18 MOV. All right, that's, you don't even need to, you could use that description and cover 99% or 95% anyway of Civivi's lineup. That's what I anticipated. However, what came was this knife right here. This, of course, is the Chevalier, the new exciting button lock from Civivi, one of the, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 button locks for 2020 that we're going to see from Civivi. Except this one, of course, is in Damascus and wood handles. And it's a blackwash Damascus, and it does create a really compelling looking knife. We'll get into some more detail about some of those features in a second, but I do want to make this point. I think I've made this before. I've said this before in a video. I'm going to say it again. If you want something a little fancy, a little showy, I think Civivi's fancier stuff is a great option because it's not crazy expensive. Oftentimes the Damascus knives, they're still under $100, and they may have, various fancy carbon fiber and different things like that. So, you're pretty hard pressed to spend more than $100 on a Civivi. And so you're getting a knife with some nice dressy features and materials that looks really cool, but you're not paying a crazy amount of money for something a little fancier. And so for me, Civivi is kind of my go-to when it comes to something like this that's a little more interesting and has a little more flair than some other knives out there. The other thing is I do like 9CR 18 MOV steel, and Civivi's Damascus is 9CR Damascus, which is great. Is it the best steel out there? Well, no, but it's a good performer, and it allows me to have a nice looking blade, right? A Damascus blade that still has decent performance, right? Outside of this, you'd have to go to like Damas steel, which is going to cost a pretty hefty amount of money. All right, let's get back to the knife, this knife in particular, rather than just my sort of theoretical rambling, and give you the specifics of it. So we have a sheep's foot blade with a fuller flat grind, fairly thin blade stock on this. All right, button lock on bearings with a flipper tab. All right, there's also that nice fuller on the blade that allows you to spidey flick or thumb roll the blade open quite easily and comfortably. The action is pretty nice. It's a little softer. So recently I had the Conspirator. I'm not sure when, that review is going to post in relationship to this first impression, but this is just a hair softer than the Conspirator, but still very, very good. All right, then of course we've got this wood handle rather than the typical G10 or micarta that we're used to. The wood is what Civivi calls Kaborta Wood. Now, Google does not know what that is. Therefore, I don't know what that is. Um, Google made a suggestion of a couple other woods that it might be, but they were just spelling suggestions, so who knows? What we could be looking at here is a name that Civivi just made up. Maybe it's a Chinese transliteration or even a mispronunciation of the kind of wood that they're using. Anyway, besides the point, it is still a nice looking finish on this knife overall, and the wood does tie in really, really well with this blackwash Damascus. All right. By the way, I'm being very specific talking about this one. I think most of you are aware that this knife is available in a number of options. Most of them will not be Damascus and wood. Most of them will be I don't know, 14C28N possibly, with either G10 or micarta. I think probably micarta on this one if I'm remembering correctly. All right, size on this guy is 7 7/8 overall, 3.5 inches on the blade, 4 3/8 close. So it's a pretty nice blade to handle ratio there. Nice generous grip area, 3 5/8 inches. So very, very comfortable. Only 3.1 ounces, which is really, really nice. Very lightweight option here. So what you get is this very fancy, classy gentleman's type folder that isn't super expensive and is still, utilitarian enough that you can just throw it in your pocket and treat it as an EDC, right? This is not a safe queen. This is not something you're only going to carry on special occasions. This is a great day-to-day carry knife, but it also has a little bit of extra flair, a little bit of extra pizzazz to make it sort of stand out from the crowd. And that is something that I do appreciate. So that's my initial impression. It's sort of a nice marriage between a good functional EDC knife and something a little more fancier and gentlemanly. And they come together very well in this particular package. So there you go, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, check out the channel sponsor down below, White Mountain Knives. If you want this knife or whatever else they've got, use my discount code SHARPSTUFF and you'll save yourself 10% off. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.